Hi everyone, welcome to this video. So I don't know if I'm pulling cards. I am using the smoke and I am using my crystal ball as usual. So we're going to see what comes through. Right off the bat as I'm sitting down, I am getting an energy of like an opening of perspective. Someone here, there's been like kind of this light switch that's gone off, and it's like we're seeing things from two different sides. More so than two different sides, I almost feel like we're seeing a bunch of different sides, and we may even just be having a paradigm shift, like a massive paradigm shift taking place. There's a lot of things about ourselves and some sort of structure of beliefs that we're starting to see. How the structure of beliefs has been kind of locked away and hidden. I almost feel that whoever this message is for, you've done a lot of work, you've been on this journey for quite some time, and you've uncovered a lot of things, and you've been very invested inside your healing journey. Very invested inside your healing journey. But it's like we uncovered a new layer. We uncovered some deeper layer of things that needs to be rewritten or recoded in some way. And I don't know exactly what this is. It feels like it will definitely be different for everybody. Like yesterday's message, it was very specific. This one feels a little bit more broad in terms of what it is that people are seeing. But it has to do with basically where we fit in. It's like a puzzle piece. It's like where we fit in. And there's something that we've seen in terms of the beliefs that we've carried, the energy that we've carried, the ideas that we have about how we're supposed to interact and engage, that is now being seen. For some of you, it's almost like the vision is blown open, right? For some of you, you're going to see yourself as having played small. For others of yourself, it's almost like being forced to acknowledge that in some ways you're the aggressor, right? And there's also a small camp here of energy that I'm feeling, where it feels like this is something that we have not had hidden from us. So it's not that it was hard to see, it's that we chose not to see it. Okay, and there has been something that has happened. It almost feels like some kind of loss that has recently forced this camp of people to confront something, because in essence it feels like reaching rock bottom, right? An emotional rock bottom. And this is, in a collective sense, a way that our self is trying to alchemize our previous experience so that it can, and I'm being shown like leaves moldering, so that it can molder. It's not that the energy necessarily has to be rejected or that it has to be extricated. It's that it has to molder. It has to turn into the nutrients for like the next phase. It's funny because I was shuffling my deck over here, and that's kind of what I thought when I saw this card, the Fool card. If you look at that, he's creating his future off the bones of the past, and that's kind of the energy that they're giving me is and I'm going to say this too, some of you may be experiencing this energy moldering as almost a heaviness in your lower torso. And the reason why we experience it there is because this is really where we process, right? This is the fire of the body. This is like the cauldron of the body. This is where we transmute things. We can have things transmute in other areas through various processes, but a lot of our transmutation of denser energies occurs lower in the body. And so this is why when we don't transmute them correctly, they can store in the hips, right? As trauma. Now, someone here, you may be aware of like your sacral chakra kind of working overtime, or that the energy system in your lower body is working overtime. There is a feeling of wanting to protect from incoming energy. So some of you may just be telling yourself, hey, just chill, just hang tight, just, be quiet, stay low, keep a low profile for a little while. And if you're not, and you are experiencing the rest of this, it might be good if you do. We've had a lot of messages come through about like the new phase is starting and all this stuff. We erroneously think that that means that we have to get up and do something immediately. Obviously, there are those of you out there who need to, right? You've been sitting on the sidelines way too long and you need to get out there and start doing some things. But for the collective that this message is for, it's almost like you're in this period of you're past the recovery and now you're in an integration. It's like all the remaining energy of these belief systems and these structures, they're in the disposal now. And the energy disposal has turned on, and it's liquefying, and it's turning into, what is it that people put in their gardens? My English isn't Englishing. Not mulch. what is it? The mulch pile? No, not the mulch pile. It was said manure, not the manure pile. Ghastly. Decomposing in the compost pile. There we go. It's turning into compost. That's kind of how it's striking me with the moldering leaves. It's turning into compost. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is just kind of confirmation. It also adds a little bit of more information. For many of you, the structures that you are starting to decompose inside of your energy system, it almost feels like personal entanglements to ideas and beliefs and structures that we had adopted from a very early age, or maybe, in our adolescence. This was all a method of control, right? Maybe you had controlling parents. Maybe you went to a controlling institution for like spirituality, right? Like a controlling church, or we're part of a controlling cult, or we're part of a controlling like social structure of some kind. These methods of control really caused someone to limit their authenticity, and this is what someone is stepping into, is a new level of their own personal authenticity. And authenticity is something that we experience being uncovered in layers, oftentimes when we do have this story in our past. So there's this layer of, at first people think that it means just like be really loud and obnoxious, right? And then they learn a little bit and they gain a little bit more wisdom over that. And then it's picking and choosing your battles. And then it's understanding to stand up for yourself. And then it's understanding that you don't have to be abrasive all the time to be authentic. And it's not about necessarily going out and dyeing your hair pink. It's about just being true to who you are. There's this element of authenticity that, a lot of people, they think that they have this one coming out with it. And that's not really the case. It's an evolution, like all things inside of our life. So I feel that the reason why I'm being brought down this rabbit hole is because somebody here, you might be beating yourself up a little bit and thinking, wow, I'm still this way. And, it is an evolutionary process. It's a process. So, just be patient with yourself. Your authenticity is slowly uncovering itself. The more that we learn who we are, because when we're in this energy, there's parts of ourself that we don't know. We haven't really learned them fully yet. You may not entirely know what you agree with, what you don't agree with, what you like, what you don't like, where your place is, where your place is not, when you should speak up, when you shouldn't speak up, what's important to you, what's not important to you, right? And those are all things that you're learning. Now, there is this coming into this energy again with that moldering sense. What we have here is we have that Barumbrak. I don't know this word. Is this English? It's sweetness and synergy. And again, that symbiotic relationship of our energy with our belief system, right? Our beliefs create the energy, and our energy sometimes creates our beliefs, and how those two work together. And now that we're dismantling these beliefs, this energy has to be dismantled in its own way, and it's creating this nutrition for the energy body moving forward. You may be feeling tired at this time, or you just may not feel like doing as much. You might have this weird thing happening where you have energy for this one thing over here, like cleaning your house or decorating, but you don't have energy for a whole lot else, right? Pay attention, especially if you have that energy going on where like you want to redecorate or you want to clean your house, because there's a deep psychological process that's taking place there, right? On a subconscious level, that's our externalized behavioral response to when we're trying to clean house metaphorically internally. And so someone here, you're going through a very deep process, very deep, profound insights about the self, about the methods of control that others have exerted on you, about the damage that control has done, and deep layers of healing are really taking place here. Things are being illuminated. A lot of things are really being illuminated. It's making me think of, there's a peacock's tail inside of the alchemy book. I actually want to read the entry for that since that's what's coming to me right now. Let's do this. Okay. Here we go. Ooh, it's LV, I believe. Yes. Okay. The peacock's tail is a sacred image in alchemy. The mesmerizing display of tail feathers opens to mark the alchemist having shifted from single to multi-perspective. This is a great achievement. The alchemist has opened 1,000 set of eyes instead of one. They've discarded black and white thinking and allowed the full spectrum of colors, nuances, and solutions to come into the fold. Creative solutions to complex social and political polarities can be found in this sacred space. The force field of possibilities has opened, and the alchemist has entered a new paradigm belonging to multiplicity, dimensionality, and inclusion. Utilize this perspective for positive change while it lasts. When falling back into black and white thinking, as any alchemist will do, envision the splendor of the peacock's tail. Each feather contains a shimmering universe of possibility. So there's some sort of new spectrum of ideas, new spectrum of perceptions that has opened up in this space. Again, it's throwing me into this like hangman energy where we're starting to understand our own personal magic. We're starting to understand the multiplicity of worlds taking place inside of us. Them barking always tells me something about protection. And so again, some of you, you may need to make sure that you don't let the wrong energies in at this time, right? Oh, there's a woodpecker knocking on the wood. Oh, the synchronicities during a reading. Very funny. 7 Pentacles. There is a waiting period here. You may be waiting for something to grow. You may be waiting for something to bear fruit in some way. Again, a lot of you, the new phase that you are stepping into, it's already begun, right? It's not that some of you have to do things, though. Some of you are doing things, but the thing may not be something you're doing anything about right now. It's almost like, I'll know when I'm ready, right? And I love that. I love that energy. Someone here is thinking, you know, I just need a little bit more quiet time and I'll know when I'm ready. And I love that. Here we have the Queen of Swords. Again, the Queen of Swords, what stands out to me the most about her always is the butterfly crown. And this one, it's the moth. There's transformation in her thoughts. Her thoughts are transforming her reality. She has really good boundaries, which is why she'll open an empathetic hand. And yet at the same time, she's got the sword because she's not going to take crap from anybody that's trying to take this energy, right? So the Queen of Swords is one of my favorite queens in the tarot because of that. She's extremely balanced between her logic and her sensitivities, right? But she also knows how to get shit done. She's been widowed. The King of Swords is off to battle. Some say he has died. She doesn't know, but she's left to rule the kingdom. So there's something here about this passive state that we're in right now is law. We're committed to being in this sort of passive state. Like someone has learned that in order to really start new phases correctly, they have to finish the healing cycle completely. And I love that because this is wisdom at its finest here, where we're not in a rush to go through life. We're not in a rush to get into the next thing. We're not in a rush to start the new endeavor. We're not in a rush to prove ourselves. We're understanding that things that get done correctly get done sometimes slowly. And someone here is kind of making themselves the center of the story right now, right? I come first. And what I know is that I need some time. So I love that. There is something growing in that space because someone is doing it right. And then when you don't expect it, there may be the appearance of something here. For some of you, this is going to come as information. The reason why I'm saying this is the Knight of Swords. For some of you, this is information. I'm putting this off to the side. For some of you, it's going to be news. For some of you, it's going to be the arrival of something that comes in the form of a communication. It may be someone that appears to you online, for example. But this is something that's going to happen that it feels like when you're deep in the throes of this, and not before you're ready, but before you feel like you're ready, this comes in. Okay. Again, you might have some disruptive energies trying to pull you out of this energy, trying to get that sword down so that you give them more. So just be aware of that. But I do think for a lot of you, there's some sort of opportunity or something that comes in a little bit before you feel like you're ready. And this is where we get to experience our intuition at play, right? We get to experience our intuition in order to use it to make some sort of decision with the Two of Wands, High Priestess to the Two of Wands. And this feels a little bit like, what have we learned up until this point? We get to test that out now. Are we going to do things exactly the same way? Or are we going to do them a little differently and allow the 3D to show up in a different way this time? There's something here that unsettles us when this appears, because the moon is coming up. And that moon is always representing that inner struggle of being calm and being anxious, of worrying about something and, holding our ground, right? It's that fight between self-agency and being overtaken by the shadow. And so someone here, this is really the place that we're navigating with the Queen of Swords underneath that. Really, this is a navigation against ourself. Meaning, maybe you allowed people to come in too quickly into your life and then they always burned you. This is going to be navigating yourself so that you don't allow that to happen this time, right? So that you pace things. Maybe you're somebody who you get really gung-ho about the next great idea, and so you rush into it without having done the research first. This is going to be you navigating yourself so that you allow yourself to do that research first and maybe push past through certain barriers that you have in doing so. There's something about doing things the correct way that just keeps coming through over and over and over. Doing things the correct way in our little healing phase, doing things correctly in the beginning phase, and we're allowing this to take us into this new journey, because this is the beginning of the Fool's journey, a new journey. We have the Hermit showing up here for the last card. And with this Hermit, it goes back to the idea of a laboratory, right? There's something here, and if you look in the background, it's pointing to the brain. This has to do with, and remember that pumpkins are illuminated, it has to do with something that we've learned, that we've illuminated ourselves with, something we've discovered about ourselves, something we've discovered about people, something we've discovered about jobs that we get into, something we've discovered about the direction that we want to go. This is what's really taking place, is that right now we're integrating that information. That information seems to be the key that's causing this moldering process to happen, so that when we enter into this phase, we do things a different way. Okay. And it almost seems magical. When we actually do this, it almost seems magical. The final card on the bottom of the deck, which for me is always the overall theme, is being able to pull a rabbit out of the hat, right? Making the impossible happen. And this seems impossible because we were under the structures of this from the past. So it was something that was never available to us, and it's available to us now. Okay, I'm going to pull one more card here. Where are we going? Where are we going? Okay. And this card is Justice. Notice how much this Justice card really looks like death, right? And it looks like death in its more Saturn appearance, right? With time and the sickle or the scythe and the robe. And there's something here about our personal karma, right? The things that we're bound to balancing out. Those negative beliefs about self, those negative stories about self, really balancing out. The heart has become lighter than the feather when this card appears. And this is what's causing us to be able to pull this rabbit out of the hat. You're about to do something miraculous for yourself. You're about to call in something into your story that maybe seemed unattainable for you. And this is all owing to the fact that you have dissolved some sort of personal karma, some sort of energy that you've carried around, quite possibly most of your life. And this is owing to the amount of self-work that you've done. It's owing to the amount of self-reflection you've allowed yourself to have. So this marks a moment in time where someone's life, it's like the work pays off, right? The work pays off. So I'm going to leave this here. If this resonates for you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment. And until next time.